Did you know that nearly 90% of all engine wear happens the exact moment you turn the key? Those first few quiet seconds when your car fires up can silently destroy your engine without you even noticing. If you have been treating your ignition routine like a mindless habit, you might accidentally be slashing your car's lifespan in half or setting yourself up for an incredibly painful mechanic bill. Today we are digging into the absolute worst mistakes drivers make when starting their vehicles and what you actually need to do instead to keep your machine purring for decades. Stick with me through this because a few simple habit shifts right now can easily save you $3,000 in needless repairs down the road. Let us start with something most people notice but completely ignore until it is too late, which is starting the engine when you smell something funky or see a puddle underneath. If your car is dripping oil, coolant, or even worse, raw fuel, turning that key is the absolute worst thing you can do. A fuel leak can turn your engine bay into a literal fireball in seconds. Even a slow coolant or oil drip means your engine might be running dry right when it needs lubrication the most. Before you even think about starting the car, take a quick glance at the ground and trust your nose. If you smell a strong, sharp chemical odor or see a fresh puddle, find out what it is before you let the engine turn over. Takes 2 minutes, but saves your wallet from total ruin. Another massive mistake that absolutely kills engines is roaring out of the driveway, revving the engine high immediately after a cold start. When your car sits overnight, all the engine oil drains straight down into the oil pan, leaving the top of the engine completely dry. When you fire it up, the oil pump needs a few moments to push that thick fluid all the way up to the camshafts and valves. If you instantly stomp on the gas pedal to hear that exhaust note or because you are running late, you are forcing dry metal parts to violently smash against each other at thousands of revolutions per minute. Give it at least 30 seconds to settle down. Let that oil circulate and build up pressure before you give it any heavy throttle. Then there is the classic blunder of grinding away at the starter motor for what feels like an eternity. Your starter is built to work in short, intense bursts, usually no more than 10 to 15 seconds at a time. If your car is struggling to catch fire and you just keep twisting that key or holding down the start button, you are rapidly overheating the internal components of the starter and draining your battery to zero. If the engine does not start after about 8 seconds, stop completely and walk away for at least a full minute. This gives the starter motor time to cool down and prevents it from burning itself out. If you keep forcing it, you will end up stranded with a fried starter that costs hundreds of dollars to replace. Before we get into the heavy technical details of what happens inside your cylinder heads, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep your ride running flawlessly without breaking the bank. We talk about real, practical garage tips every single week, so join the crew right now. Think about what happens when you try to crank an engine that is critically low on its lifeblood, namely engine oil and coolant. Running your motor even a few quarts low on oil means the oil pump will suck in air pockets, starving vital bearings of lubrication. Within seconds, the heat built up from metal-on-metal friction can warp your cylinder heads or snap a connecting rod, turning your engine into a very expensive paperweight. It is exactly the same story with your coolant. If your radiator or overflow tank is bone dry, your engine will overheat almost instantly upon startup, blowing the head gasket and leaving you with a $4,000 repair bill. Checking your dipstick and coolant reservoir takes less than a minute. Forcing your car to start on a weak or barely alive battery is another hidden trap that many people overlook. You might think that as long as the car eventually turns over, you are totally fine, but that is a dangerous assumption. A low-voltage battery forces the starter motor to draw excessive current, which damages both the starter and the battery itself. Even worse, modern cars are packed with sensitive computers, modules, and sensors. When the voltage drops drastically during a rough, struggling start, it can send rogue electrical surges through your engine control unit or ruin your expensive infotainment screen. Grab a cheap multimeter and check your battery. It should read 12.4 to 12. 6 volts when the engine is completely off, and jump up to 13.7 to 14.7 volts when the alternator is running. If it is lower than that, or if your battery is more than 4 years old, swap it out before it ruins your electronics. Extreme weather demands completely different starting habits, yet people still treat a freezing winter morning exactly like a mild spring day. When the temperature drops well below freezing, your motor oil turns into thick, sluggish molasses, making it incredibly hard for the engine to spin freely. On the flip side, scorching summer heat puts an immense amount of stress on your cooling system and degrades your battery capacity. In the dead of winter, If your car sits outside, using a block heater can change your life by pre-warming the block and the oil for an effortless start. In the summer, try to park in the shade to protect your electronics from cooking. No matter the season, when you deal with harsh weather, give your car about 30 seconds to a minute of idle time to let all the systems stabilize before putting it into gear. We are about to cover a mistake that can literally crack your engine block in half. But right before we unravel that mystery, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you never miss these crucial automotive survival guides. Firing up a vehicle that has been sitting abandoned for months without preparation is a guaranteed recipe for mechanical disaster. Over time, engine oil degrades, seals dry up, and fuel actually spoils, turning into a sticky gunk that completely clogs up your fuel lines and injectors. If you just jump in and crank the key, you risked pulling old contaminants straight into your combustion chamber or running dry piston rings against rusty cylinder walls. Before starting a car that has sat for months, pull the dipstick to check the oil. If it looks like dark sludge, drain it and put in fresh oil. Check the coolant, test the battery, and look closely under the hood for any signs of rodents chewing through your wiring harness. If the fuel is older than 6 months, drain the tank or add a fuel stabilizer to prevent total fuel system ruin. One incredibly common habit that quietly thrashes your electrical system is leaving every single accessory turned on when you shut down and restart your car. Think about it. If you leave your air conditioning blasting, your heated seats activated, your headlights on, and the radio all of those components demand power the exact millisecond you turn the key. This puts an immense, unnecessary load on your battery and alternator precisely when they need to dedicate 100% of their energy to spinning the starter motor. Get into the habit of turning off your climate control, wipers, and heavy accessories before you turn off the engine. That way, the next time you start it up, your battery can focus solely on getting the motor fired up safely and smoothly. Let us talk about running on completely worn out spark plugs. Your spark plugs are responsible for igniting the fuel and air mixtures inside cylinders perfectly. When they get old, fouled with carbon, or the gap widens too much, they begin to misfire, causing incredibly rough starts. A misfiring cylinder sends raw, unburned fuel straight down into your exhaust system, where it lands directly on your catalytic converter. This melts the internal elements of the converter, turning a simple $30 spark plug swap into a $2,000 exhaust repair. Check your owner's manual, but generally, standard plugs need to be changed every 20,000 miles, while high-end iridium ones can stretch up to 60,000 miles. If your car idles roughly or struggles to catch during startup, do not wait. Pull those plugs and check the electrodes. Ignoring weird startup noises or sudden dashboard warning lights is like ignoring a fire alarm in your kitchen. If you hear a loud clicking, a sharp screech, or a strange whistling noise when the engine catches, your car is begging for help. A clicking sound usually points straight to a dying battery or loose terminals, while a loud screeching noise means a pulley or the starter bendix is failing. More importantly, if your check engine light, oil pressure light, or battery icon stays illuminated after the engine fires up, do not shift into drive. A low oil pressure light means your engine is actively destroying itself from lack of lubrication. Pull out your owner manual, figure out what that warning symbol means, or call a mechanic before a minor sensor issue turns into a total engine replacement. Then we have the accessory belt, often called the serpentine belt, which drives everything from your alternator and water pump to your power steering. If this belt is dry rotted, cracked, or loose, the sudden jerk of a cold start can cause it to snap instantly or fly clean off the pulleys. If that happens while you are driving, you will immediately lose your power steering, your battery will stop charging, and your water pump will stop circulating coolant, causing your engine to overheat and warp within a few blocks. Make it a habit to pop the hood every now and then to visually inspect the belt. Look for tiny cracks across the ribs, fraying edges, or a shiny, glazed appearance. Most belts last anywhere from 60,000 to 100,000 miles, but catching a worn belt early prevents a catastrophic breakdown on the highway. Finally, if you happen to drive an older classic car, specifically something built before the year 2000, you absolutely cannot treat it like a modern daily driver. Older vehicles rely on carburetors or primitive fuel injection systems that need actual time to balance the air and fuel mixture as the engine temperatures change. If you just twist the key and immediately drive away, you will experience severe hesitation, stalling, and uneven wear on the internal components. Always let an older car idle for at least a full minute before moving. This allows the mechanical parts to expand naturally with heat and lets the oil completely coat the internal surfaces. Avoid any sudden acceleration until the temperature gauge reaches its normal operating range, ensuring your classic ride stays reliable for years to come. Taking care of your car does not require a degree in engineering. It just takes a little bit of mindfulness during those first few critical seconds after you turn the key. By breaking these bad habits and giving your engine the brief moment it needs to prepare, you will keep your car out of the shop and keep hard-earned money in your wallet. I want to hear from you now. So head down to the comments and let me know what kind of vehicle you drive, how many miles are on the odometer, or if you have ever accidentally fallen into one of these startup traps. If you found these garage tips helpful, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss our weekly breakdown. Safe driving out there, and I will see you in the next one.